welcome back to the Bison Workshop. I'm Bob, and today we're doing a mind change. Um, I was gonna, as everybody knows, I was gonna put a DC motor on my lathe, and I just don't want to get into that right now. It's working fine. There's too much that I don't have that that needs to be here before I get started on the lathe. Now, eventually, I probably will do the lathe, but for me to get the experience that I need on DC motors, I decided to change my focus from the lathe. And yes, that lathe, it's possible that I could have done that with the lathe, but there's just too many other things that I'd like to have for it before I even start that, and that would be a tack, a potentiometer, and a forward reverse switch for the 12 volt so I can reverse it. Plus, I'd rather have a different kind of 12 volt motor, a DC motor, that doesn't have a threaded shaft. That way, I don't have to worry about if I run it backwards, is it going to spin the flywheel off of the motor. So, I've decided to use the drill press as my guinea pig for my learning experience, and for whoever's watching me's learning experience. I think we're going to use the drill press as the guinea pig. And I think this would be the prime candidate for the simple reason it's got a 3/4 inch or 3/4 horsepower motor on it, and it's exactly the same color as my bandsaw motor, or my bandsaw, and the bandsaw actually needs a motor. It's gotten to the point where every time you start the bandsaw, you actually have to push the pulley to get it to start, because it won't start by itself. It'll just sit there and hum. So, yes, I'm going down a 1/4 horsepower, but I don't think I need it for the bandsaw. I think this will work just fine. I think the shaft is exactly the same size. So, this motor will work fine on the bandsaw. So, I think what we're going to do is we're going to take the motor off of this one, and we're going to fit the 12 volt motor to it. And this is pretty simple. You just have a light, which this would run 12 volt and AC. I'd have AC for the light, and I can switch this switch to run for the well, I could probably just leave this switch in there and just use the control panel to turn it off by pulling the stop button, or stop card. Plus, it's got a switch on it too, reset and off. So, yeah, I could just leave that in place and put that switch in the control panel and be done with it. So, that's what we're planning on doing. But there's a lot of things that I need to do before I get to that point. What I'm going to do, and I'll pan you down here and let you see, I'm going to have to make a pulley. And yes, before anybody says anything, I'm not looking forward to that. Done got me gun shy on pulleys on that last pulley I did. That failed. But I'm going to get back on the horse, and we're going to try this again. So let me move this. There'll be a good location for you. What I'm going to have to do is I'm probably going to have to turn this down. Alright. I have it indicated within a thousandth. I don't know how I done it, but I'm going to tell you, I've been here for an hour trying to indicate this thing. Have I told you lately I do not like 4-jaw chucks? Well, anyway, we've got it indicated. And I indicated it right there on that edge right there. And I started off doing this. Then I tried to take the center up and put it in here to get me started. Um, Basically, I just slid the center up there until it was loosened all these, put the center in there, and got it close. And then I just kind of bumped them, got it to where it touched the edge of this. And then I had to go in there and pull up a Tubal Cain video to get me the rest of the way. And he showed the two key method. So that's how I did it. So now what we're going to do is we're going to turn this and take this rib off, all these little ridges. And that's all we're going to do is just get it down to where they're not there no more. So we'll get started. Alright, now we've got that down where it's, you can find my indicator here. Alright, we're at 129, 128. So let's put that in decimal. I guess that's what that is. Actually inches. So it's 1.2270. So let's see. What I'm going to have to do is make sure I'm going to be able to turn 3/8 out of it. So to do that, I may have to go smaller on that because I'm using 2 1/8. So I'm just estimating right now. Yeah, see, if I was to turn 3/8 for the belt, I would only have an 1/8 inch from the bottom of the pulley where the belt is to this. So there will be an 1/8 inch in between this and the pulley. So I think I'm going to come down on that maybe, I don't know. I mean, it's going to be okay if I was to take about 1/3 of that off of there. That'll give me plenty to work with in case I want to put a grub screw on it. I'm planning on doing red Loctite on it. But I think I'm going to come down on this about another 1/3 of this. So let's see where something like we'll just pick a spot here. We're going to try to get it at try to find us a goal here. I'm going to try to do That'll give me plenty of room for my threads. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to shoot for this. So let's go ahead and start doing that and hope we don't overshoot our distance. Alright, we got it. Big old skeeter. There we got it. Alright, so now that we've decided how to do this, basically what I've done is taken the original bracket off of the treadmill and made it so it swivels on the original bracket. And I'm going to have to make a longer pin here. Whoops. Daggone it, my spring flew out. Where'd my spring go? Ah! Now I gotta search for my spring. Anyway, I gotta make a longer pin here. And why wasn't I thinking when I pulled that off? Now this thing's clear up there somewhere. Anyway, I'm gonna have to make a longer one of these because I wanted to use the top one. So this here has adjustments in either direction. So, you know, it's got a swivel here, and I'll bring you over and show you that here in a minute, but it hinges on the original bracket, and basically I'm just going to drill probably 4 holes in this and right in here to mount this to this plate. And that way, if I ever need to use this to put the original motor back on it, I can. So I can adjust that wherever I want to get this belt to be straight in line with all this. So this way, you know, if I want to later on, if I need to, I can put a shorter belt on it. But I don't see me needing to do that. So basically I'm just going to have to make a longer pin to go up against the plate here. It's going to be a special pin because if I come out, it's going to miss it. So I'm going to have to make a either a bracket to put here on this to make a plate to put for this pin to push up against, if you know what I mean. That way it keeps the tension on it. But right there is about where I need it. So I think this is going to work. So let me pull you off of there. What I've done here, I'll wait here a minute. What I've done was I took the flywheel off, stuck it in the 4-jaw chuck, and it took me an hour to indicate that thing because this had to be right. So I went kicking and screaming. But I got this turned down, and this here fits on it pretty nice. No wobble. So I turned that on the lathe, Yes, it's not the prettiest thing in the world, but it holds the belt pretty good. The belt fits in it really good with about a 1/16 of an inch outside, and I chamfered all this so that it wouldn't cut the belt, and I think that's going to work pretty good. And I'm going to use the smallest pulley on this end to get the maximum speed out of this, because now it's going to be variable speed. So the next step for me to do is drill that and tap it for a set screw so that we can put a set screw on that. And being that it spins clockwise, which is the same as the drill press, I won't have no issues with it unscrewing off of there. And I'm not ever going to be running the drill press in reverse, so you know I don't need a reversing switch on it. So I think this will work pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and figure out where I'm going to put my set screws, and I'm thinking about putting 2 of them in it because I do have 2 set screws. Put them every third and leave the last third empty. So they'll be kind of like one here, and since there's no wobble in it, you know, I don't see that being an issue. So we're going to do that next. Alright, now that we've got the motor mounted, we got it mounted on there, belt's tight, and now we're working on the power. So what I've done is I've cut that whole piece off of the outside of this part that this mounted to, and that'll go in there like that. Right now what we're doing is we're making it so that it fits right there. And once I get screws in it, it's tight enough that it ain't going to push back and look all or be all flimsy. So now we've got to run the wire through, and I'm glad it's a long one. So we run that through there. That in there, and it'll be enclosed. So now we get to put our screws in it. And now we've got our control panel and our safety switch, which what I'll do is just cut that short and just tie something that's heavy on it, maybe a ball or something like that. That way I can grab it real quick if I need to, and which I doubt I do, but you never know. Hope it cleans up nice. It should. Alright, so now we need to probably wrap this around up there, take this off so I can put it on the motor and wrap that up too. And I mean, I could possibly just take this loose right here and just pull this through, and that way I still have the light capability. So this switch here will not be working. That's for the other motor. So that way, if I ever do want to put the motor back to it, it's there. I ain't got to worry about it. Bolt it back on. And just in case I have to redo this. I was testing it yesterday, and during the test, I thought about this blog that I had been paying attention to, and this guy said that he could grab the motor and stop it with his hand. And I tried that. It got a little warm, but yeah, I was stopping it. I was able to stop it, so I'm wondering if that's going to be an issue. So we'll see. So what we need to do now is find us a place to mount these pieces. Now, what I can do, and this place is a mess. When I start a project, man, I'm telling you what, it's a mess. What I want to do, I want to mount both of those side by side, and this will run down something like that, and I'm going to have to make a panel for it, and it'll bolt to this piece. So that way, actually there's a good possibility I can mount it something like that right there to the wall, and or to a board, and make a plate that goes over top of this and make a square hole for this stop or power button. I want my power button to work, so I could possibly put it up there in the corner, or back in this corner. But until I figure out where I'm going to put this, stay tuned. Alright, well, we haven't mounted this yet, but I do have it mounted to a board, and that way I can just mount this up on the wall somewhere, wherever it is that I decide to put it. Can't put it up in there for the simple reason I won't be able to turn this. And I like the option of being able to turn this around all the way, so if I want to work on the motor, I ain't got to work back there in a tight quarter. So I've got it hooked up and power run to it, and we're going to give it a shot. So we're going to be able to know how long we've run that drill press each time. And we're going to know how many calories my drill press is burning off. And its pulse. Alright, that's on 2 miles an hour. Now eventually I'll put a tack on this thing, but the motor wobbles a little bit because of the bracket, but I plan to put a little stud, a bracket going from this stud over to this, and that'll kind of hold it steady. But there's two, and there's 4, and I don't see me running that anything any more past 4. That's pretty fast for me, so I'm not really worried about it going any further than that. I mean, the option's there. I mean, I can imagine if this thing was spinning up there at 10 mile an hour, that thing be pretty messed up. Now the real test is going to be when you go to drilling into metal or wood or whatever. But I'll give you a close-up here. There's my new pulley. And it's got a little shape down here because of that bracket. So there's my new pulley in action. And I've got it run to the highest speed. So now it's basically putting this panel somewhere out of the way, and that's going to be a task, trying to find a bracket or a place to put that. So, but there's my control panel, and if I want to stop it, look at there, I can do it, and I can do it fast. And then it resets, and there's 2 miles an hour. But I believe I could stop that with my hand. Yeah, that's not good. That's not supposed to happen. So I'm wondering if this thing's going to have the torque that I need. See, this is why I did this way, so that if I ever need to put that motor back on there, I can, because I'm not real sure about this. I shouldn't be able to stop that with my hand. So we'll see how it drills. So I'm going to work on trying to get this thing mounted to the wall somewhere and go from there. Stay tuned. Alright, so now we've got this thing mounted to the wall. We can now put a cover on it. I was going to test this thing out, but when I started testing it, shavings started throwing. This one here went up there and hit right there, and I said, oh, better stop doing that. So I went out to the parts to the treadmill and decided to do another, use another piece off of it. So basically I got this panel that came off of the treadmill that I have cut a slot in right here on the top to go up against that and to cover that. So now I need to cut a slot for this. Actually, I can just put that right through there and cut a slot right here for this to go on, and then put some L brackets on the top, and I think that'll work just fine. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to put the L brackets on it, and that's going to hold it on there. So I'm going to cut me a little slot here for that wire, so I can put that wire through there. So let's find out where we want that. Let's make it level at the bottom of this. So put my finger right there, and we're going to cut that hole out of there. Now I'll move you over here, and we're just going to drill a hole right here. Alright, now we have a completed product. I'm going to clean this up a little bit. I've got the switch on. Plug it in here, and everything works perfect. Let me move you all up on the tripod here so I can see what you guys are seeing. And you got the safety, which I got to cut and put a little ball or something on the end of it. And we got our speed. Now let's try this out. On a piece of metal. Finish what we started. We're at 2.5 right now. Bring that down a little bit. Let's do 1. See how good it works. So 1.5. There we go. Man, I think I like that. Alright, let's bring it down to 1. And let's move that into another location and try drilling. Well, 1 ain't going to be a good setting. It's doing okay as long as you don't force it and let the bit do the work, which is what you're supposed to do anyway. Alright, let's bring you on up here closer so you can see. Alright, let's move to another location. And we'll show that again. I notice when you put a little pressure on it, it speeds up. As long as you don't overpressure it, you just move slow into it. Now that's on 1. Dang, my thing was moving. Alright. Now let's bring you over here. And the good part about it is, let's say something happens, you just pull that out. Of course, I had a hard time there, didn't I? There you have the upgraded drill press Now the only thing I have left to do is take this bracket off and hide these wires back inside this housing, and tape them off real good so they don't get shorted out. And that's a completed project. So you got your nice cover that I just cut down to 22 inches, which is what it was from the wall over to the outlet. And I may go in here and just cut that straight off right there, even with that. And there's a good possibility I can also put a fan in here somewhere. I don't know if it's necessary, but there you have the upgraded Ram Machinery drill press. Of course, that light's messing with it. With the control panel that came with the treadmill. And the good part about it is we know how many calories my drill press is burning off. Pretty soon it'll be so skinny you won't be able to see it. Burning so many calories. So let's see here. I wanted to check something out real quick. I wanted to see if this time would tell you how long you actually drilled. So let's turn that back on and do it at 2. Oh, it's not. It started over and reset the timing. Unless it's jumping back and forth from time to distance. Yeah, that's what it's doing. So we went 0.01 miles, and at 29:30 seconds is how long we've run this drill press. I think that's actually a pretty decent feature. I mean, not that you ever need it, but you know, it's information. So there you have it. Bison Workshop working on his drill press. You guys have a good one. Later.